So, the portal is called NP, and this place is called O. Is there some sort of mystery afoot? A question left unanswered? I mean, the other thing that gets me is that this is all... Being said, this is actually... Like, for something that's just a simplistic little retooling, it actually works very well. This is... The reflections aside, this is really what it feels like when you're inside, and the outside is like, oh, it's all dark outside, but like the whole place is still glowing. I still appreciate that. Like, the genre's like, I don't know what someone will listen to this. I gotta say, Kevin's State so far has been a lot of problems, but not with Kevin. Like, from a narrative perspective, he doesn't talk that bad. Like, everything he says is like, sure. It's not like Ipsum, where they start talking about fucking metaphysics, and it's like, oh, let's talk metaphysics. And your character's, like, not even invested. Here it's like, you're sort of invested, and at least your character's written as giving a shit, and it's relevant, because that's why you invite him. You don't go to Lorne to learn about fucking Ipsum's bananas. This is nice. This is a little reflection, because I keep saying, you get me? I got the seer. I just need... I want a fucking... I want a fucking discount. Then I can buy the biggest platinum package. Be a big boy. Buy all the slots. I have so many slots. I'm gonna fit all the warframes in there. And then I'm gonna build all the weapons. I'm gonna be super big boy. I'm gonna be the biggest boy. I might stop playing the game if I don't get my discount, because there's nothing for me to do, because I kind of want to have new weapons and stuff to work with. I really like that some people are legitimately going to be like, but that's not how that works, and your character's like, hey, that's a nice little... That's a weird for your player character to do that, but, you know, that's the point. It's a bit different. Like, does it matter what instead of what everything? You know, the thing is weird is that, why is he talking about this? Because this model requires that this far into the future, Izumi's Learn-O-Matic machine still gives a shit about this. Like, either this model has at this point been confirmed, because at this point you have nanomachines and fucking people probably have their minds read. Either this model has been confirmed, or thoroughly enough debunked that no one is going to seriously teach it. Meaning, Izumi would either preach it as the truth to these fucking persons or not. Like, where would they get this from? This fucking model has to come from somewhere. The Freudian. I love the term Freudian. Advanced structural model. Oh, cool. It's actually pretty common. I thought it was... To be honest, I really thought that this was... It was something that was thrown out at some point, but apparently not. At least not to the point that there's like this huge part of like, you're an idiot. Oh, this is a pretty good way to put it. My ego. The pre-consciousness. There's a term I've never heard of. What is the pre-conscious? The Über-Ich. The S. This translates more to... Isn't S like is? I guess that would sound very weird in English, though. That being said, it's not a bad model. To at least capture, like, the general concept. Like, there's your body, there's what you think other people should do, and then there's you who wants to do what he wants. Like, it's a good way to capture general... what your morals are. You have the morals for living, the morals for your personality, and the morals of society. It's a good model in that perspective. But again, why would they know this or care about this, unless it was something that was proven or not? Because this is, like, far in the future. Like, I don't care. I don't give a damn which turns out to be true in reality. If you're gonna talk about like quantum particles this far into the future, you need to pick a side at this point. By this point, string theory has either been proven or disproven. There's gonna be a conclusion on it, or there's enough advancement that the things change. You need to pick a side if you're going into the future. You need to. If you don't, it looks weird. It's like people still haven't found fucking gravitons. Like, we already have. And yours was written like a year before that, and it's 50 years in the future. Like, you have to, or it just looks silly after a while. That's hard to do, but you can also just never bring it up. That's the fun thing about not mentioning something, is it isn't wrong if you don't say it. It's not wrong if you never say it. Which is why I'm like super upset over the whole town thing, is if it was mentioned, it would work just fine. I just want to put a little song up. Wasn't this Emera? There's a problem with this statement, and you're going to know this problem right when I tell you. Your character, at this point, knows that dragons are made by a human, meaning they must have knowledge that comes from a human to establish this. So why would you ask this question at all? Izumi comes from a comparable timeline to yours. Why would these people not have information that's congruent with your own? Like, it's already strongly implied they've never progressed, which, by the way, is something it can never seem to make up its mind on. On one end, dragons are clearly looking forward to some sort of technological advancement, and on the other side, they're just not going anywhere. Like, they've clearly been stagnant for years, and at the same time, it's like, I'm looking forward to the latest technological advancement. I'm not gonna make it, though. It doesn't seem to know 100% which side to pick, so it just kind of shuffles its feet around whenever you ask, and it's like, come on. You gotta pick sides, man. When you write a story about the future, you gotta pick sides. You're gonna have to say, do the Republicans go away, or are they still around? Is the NRA still influential? What is gun control like in the future? You have to pick sides, and if you don't, fun fact, your story's gonna look a bit weird when you start moving very close to those subjects, because there's no answer, and you need an answer at that point. Your proximity to a topic implies there's an answer to that question. Even implicitly, you're gonna have to establish something. You can't pussyfoot around it and then be like, I want to do everything, because that's what I do, and fun fact, that's not good. I should know. I've tried it, and it looks terrible every time. The fact that he calls it old is the weird part. So, here's the thing. Imagine Dragonkind is about a generation or so old, so it's not that old. They've existed around for a while. Why would they keep this? Or, better said, why would they teach this? I guess he could have learned it on his own, but he's taught in introductory classes, meaning this is important enough that this is their way to introduce themselves. But how old? Like the thing you need to remember is Freud was old. Is old now. That was 67 years ago. To these dragons, that was the beginning of their creation, plus at least 100 years or whatever. So the timeline's so fucking screwy with this. Ugh. And I always like. I think the reason is so. I think they did the same thing with, like, programming. They're like, this is a baby program for baby people to give you an understanding as to what it's like. And the whole point was not to teach us the programming, but to teach us just how dead wrong we were and how the design worked. It was like, yeah, you made a crap program, and now we're going to teach you how to do it right. Like, the whole point is more about quality control than it is about programming itself, which is kind of weird, because every time I go to a fucking place, it's like, it's got to be about the programming, not about the quality control. It's so stupid. But that's the point, is businesses don't give a shit, and they should. Ugh. Also, why is this what he starts off with? So, if someone from another world asks, I want to learn about what you are taught and see if it overlaps with their own, why would you start with an old and simplified model of your psyche? That's not the model any psychiatrist uses. Why would you not use what people do use? If aliens come to our world and they're like, what is your math like? What does your mathematics look like? I'm not going to show them addition. I'm going to show them some sick-ass algebra. I'm going to show them that fucking sweet-ass graph. I'm going to show them some cosines and big old tangents and logarithms. You know, the good stuff. The real sexy maths. I'm going to show them the three-body problem. That kind of stuff. I'm not going to show them addition and some basic algebra. I'm going to show them some real meat and bones. Some real trigonometry. Some topology. Some cool stuff. You're not going to start off with this. Especially not considering you can already talk each other's language. I'm just saying. It's not smart. The funny thing is, math is probably universal enough that it's a good way to start establishing basic language. How does this translate to Dutch? Like, I'm pretty sure I could just flip it on to Dutch side. And nope. I hate it when that happens. It's just not fun. But because it's the ich and S, I have to put S through the fucking ringer now. Put me through to Mr. Harmon German. Zij. Hij. Dat dit. Wait, what? Oh, it. That. Oh, heck. Why don't you call it it then? Why do you use Latin terms? If apparently this is what he went with. I'm pretty sure he went with that. That's what Freud would have done. Wasn't he German? Maybe he wasn't German. It's like coincidental that it's just like that. Let's see. Yeah, he's Austrian. And he's now in... Wow, that's weird. He's technically Czechish, but he's also Austrian. He died in Hampstead, London, United Kingdom. That's very specific. Yeah, he's Austrian. He's not even German. Probably spoke German, though. So, the funny thing is... ooh. Oh, wow. That's interesting. The funny thing is, French was a massive language in continental Europe because France was pretty big. So a lot of people were like, I speak French, and I will be dressed as such, even though it was like, come on, man. It was a nobility thing. It was kind of weird. Ugh. Now we still have to learn French, even though English is like the only fucking language that matters around here anymore. Also because people like to go to France for their vacations, I guess. Ooh. It's dictatorial, thou shalt. That's a sexy way of putting it. I think I'm going to simplify this for myself. Because this is very error-prone. What did it call again? The ick. No, that's the ick. Yeah, I think I'm going to stick to the original terms, because if I try to translate this into Dutch, it just looks fucking stupid. It's weird that it suddenly decides to jump out of that. Because, again, that's super annoying to do, but it's consistent. Like, the weird part about this is that while I understand the general gist of this, like, we're communicating something. At least there's a context for for why this explanation is happening. It still feels a little bit... Like, for fuck's sake, you can get an expert on the line and he'll chat about this for hours for free and you'll get some good stuff. That's the fun part, is someone really likes their subject. Like, they really like it. They'll never shut up and you get all the stuff you need. Your conscience. Rote? What the hell's rote learn? But what does that mean? Oh. But the thing is, this model works very well for humans. But for dragons, there's a clear incentive. There is an incentive to develop a cure for cancer. Yet, they don't. Yet, dragons seem very uninterested in advancements. There's a good reason for dragons to make a better chair. Yet, they don't. It would do wonders for their back. But they don't. So to dragons, the concept of this super ego id thing doesn't really seem to establish itself that much. Like with Bryce, Bryce clearly he listens to his super ego. He wants to uphold things. He wants to be nice. He wants to help out people. But at the same time, it's like when it comes to his booze, he's like... And then I got Sebastian, who seems to mostly do what it says because it's like, oh man, I get to uphold the law and be a jackass while I'm at it. Like, there's this weird thing where, like, most dragons are clearly... They don't seem to have... They have a super ego, but only when it's inconvenient to them. You know? It's like it's inconvenient for people to invent new stuff. I don't know what to say. But it just feels... It feels like this model wouldn't really work for dragons, per se. Like their mental processes are clearly different. There's something more basic about them in some ways. I think the nomenclature could have been better. You've got the ego, the super ego, and the id. It would have been more better if you either went like, it's the sub-ego, or the ego, or the super ego has a different name. I'm just saying, if you're gonna name shit, give them distinct names or go for a pattern. This is super weird. Because I'm, like, writing stuff. But it's like I'm putting in goddamn placeholders. Wow, this sentence actually works a lot better than I thought it would. This works a lot better than I thought it would. Yeah, the fact that he calls it outdated is so fucking stupid. Why would you only have heard of this before? Like, the superego is a thing that's going to stick around for forever because it's such a stupidly simple model. And it's like everyone... Like, Freudian psychology still pull it out of its ass every once in a while. Ugh. Again, though, it preempted me being like, this is technically somewhat... Isn't this, like... Why would you be taught this if it's outdated? Like, again, what is the point? Either this information is ancient by the time Izumi teaches it, and there's no reason to teach it, or it really feels like this was written before the Izumi conversation was ever supposed to take place. I'm angry, because this is one of those moments where you get this weird glimpse into an alternate reality, where either there was more emphasis on the dragon part, or more emphasis on the dates. Because the way it's balanced right now, it's... Here's the thing, you can do everything, but you have to work super hard to do it, and this does not put in that effort. It puts in enough effort that it could do one thing, and the others are sort of a backdrop, but instead it does nothing as a backdrop, and it doesn't work, because you need that extra effort. You really need to. You can't have 3 diamonds in the rough at once. It's either 1 diamond in the rough, or it's a beautiful set of diamonds. Multiple diamonds in the rough is just, you didn't even try. You know, that's the point, is if you got 3 diamonds in the rough, either you carve them all out perfectly and you're great, or you take 1 diamond, you're going to say, I'm going to only work that one out. And the other ones, they'll be there, but it's fine. Instead, it's neither. It's just rough. A lot of diamonds in rough. I wonder what a diamond in the rough even looks like. I have no clue. That's true, though. There is a lot to psychiatry. The psychology. There's analysis, there's treatment, and even those go all kinds of ways. Then again, the funny thing is, it actually makes sense that he would say this. If you're studying something, you're probably like, I like this, and I might want to apply this. And that's kind of stupid. Like, you can say a little bit of IT knowledge will come in useful everywhere, because everywhere is technology. That's fine-ish, but at the same time, there are still people out there who work more with mechanical equipment than electronic equipment. Like chainsaws. Don't need a fucking Wi-Fi pad on that one. Counselor. The Pabo. Which is still a funny word for a teacher school. These are hard to translate. The second pass is gonna tear this one apart. Wait, why is there an end here? Did we ever start off with anything? No. I imagine that's like a sort of a mental quibble, like, okay, we're done with this. Oh, I think I know how this works. Let me guess. Let me fucking guess. These people are allowed to send in like a little subject list or something. Because it's very unusual there being... And that's either a notation of like, I'm done, I'm gonna stop at this point with this conversation. So as a mental bookmark. Or they got to send in like certain topic marks of like, this is what I want to talk about. And here's some stuff you might want to know. I don't know. It's weird because Katsuhara doesn't really do that. No, actually Katsuhara does do that in the weirdest ways. Katsuhara is a lot more about Katsuhara though. And about some weird crap where he's just a fucking old fart who needs to shut up and die. Ugh. Like, again, the fact that this comes up really gives the impression this should have been Chapter 3. Maybe that was the original idea. Maybe everything would have been Chapter 3, but then we're like, I kind of want something for Chapter 4 too. Which is weird. I kind of want to stop. Or actually, we're already there. I'm done. I'm done for today. It's been 30 minutes, and while I am in the mood for more translation, I feel that Kevin's date is just a slog. In a weird way. It's not the usual kind of slog where I'm like, ugh. It's more slog where I'm like, I don't know. It's just a very hard to translate properly. Where are we now, anyway? Like, again, it's not many lines, but the lines themselves are very beefy. They're beefy boys. Big beef. Big beef for big boys. Let's go a little bit further. I'm almost at the I think I get the idea line. Unfortunately, it turns out that business intelligence and the application of large-scale data crunching is a little bit more useful than psychology is. If only because humans are animals of large-scale patterns instead of animals of independent analysis. It's easier to analyze a population than it is to analyze a person. The only downside of that, of course, is that business intelligence is very much reliant on pre-existing individuals instead of individuals at large. So, I guess psychology would would provide benefit as like an advisor who'd be like, yeah, but that's true, but you kind of, because you know, if you're a data cruncher, you're only going to care about the data. You're not necessarily going to know the domain of the data to an extent that you'll be able to think outside the box and realize what might be necessary. Yeah, but empathy and understanding your client's needs are not necessarily something you need to study psychology for. There's this funny thing called common sense that tends to work miracles in those areas. Much more than psychology ever could. I'm just saying, there's the thing with psychology, is it's such a thing you generally need, that's saying, where does the information you learn from a psychology course help, to where does this common sense just kick in? Like, what point is critical thinking skills, and what point is psychology skills, is a hard boundary to set. I'm just saying. Like, maybe it's you get more critical insights, yeah, but is that necessarily what you learned, or is that just the experience you get from working in that area? It's sort of like with art. Like, you learn all kinds of stuff, but in the end, did it make you a better artist, or did it just give you the experience to be a better artist? I don't know. Did it give you the network, or did it give you the... Yeah, but the concept of street smarts and just having experience with individuals is a lot more important than just learning about books. Because humans will always be humans. Large-scale trends are easy to understand, but it took a while for people to figure out that lead was causing people to go criminal, you know? Like the whole lead fuel thing. Like, why would they have this? Because, again, like, why would dragons inherit this if Azumi is like, you gotta help, we need help? And then they're like, no. It's so weird. Like, again, I don't know. I'm done. I need to stop. I need to stop. Get out that man with that big old clock that's not even working, but just get him out of here. I need help. There we go. That's a nice one. Just adding a little bit of flair. Because, you know, the thing about your character is didn't you study psychology? Wouldn't you be like a little bit more sassy about this? It's very weird that Kevin gets to ramble like this when your character doesn't have any reason to give a shit. And why does he bring up video games in particular? That's such a weird thing to specifically start talking about. I understand that Kevin's like a video game, but it's implied that he has a social life and clearly has interest in his studying. It's just a weird dynamic going on. It's a dynamic that makes him human instead of a dragon. Think about Kevin. He feels very human, because everything is like, I understand that, but why would you? This is a different world. They never experience certain cultural changes. That is a problem, Kevin. You're an alien. You're a circle. You're a cheesehead. So, this is less psychology and more playtesting, Kevin. I'm pretty sure no psychologist has ever been used for this, besides the psychology of common sense. Like with Valve, it's like, we use lights and cues and weenies. You bet your fucking ass no psychologist was ever asked about this, because psychology doesn't fucking give a shit about video games. They figured this out on their own by being like, what do people look at? How do I, like, fun fact, they used cinematographic composition for weenies. Like, this is a frame, this is where the image guides you, this is a line that pushes you that way, this is a small gimme that makes it look like you should go that way. That's not, like, yes, that's psychology, but it's not what psychology does. You know? It's like saying chemistry is involved with brick and mortar work. Like, you need chemistry to make buildings out of brick and stone. But you bet your fucking ass that no fucking chemist was involved in making that brick building. Is the problem, Kevin. That's the problem with this discussion. Is it forgets that, yes, you could theoretically use it, but no one's gonna fucking do that. You're going to more likely hire someone who has psychology but is a researcher, who knows critical thinking and analysis more than psychology, which is a different thing, Kevin! You can be a psychologist and still be blind as a bat! You can have high intelligence but still have low wisdom and low charisma and be like, I know things! And then you fart out of your face because you're dumb. But I can see where it's useful, but again, right now, a lot of what's happening in video games and IT is compiled intelligence. Patterns are common recurring solutions. They're not made by research and analysis, by an actual logistics man. They are just things that popped up and people are like, you might want to use this. Yes, you could have hired a mathematician or someone with a logics degree to figure it out for you, but you're not gonna, because you don't have to, because someone in your field with your knowledge could do the same thing! And better, probably, because he knows the practical application over the theoretical application. Like, why is Kevin so invested in this? Why is he selling you psychology? Like, why? Like, I understand that Kevin is like, I like this, but why is he defending himself? At what point has the player character been like, you're an asshole, Kevin, I hate your... I'm done. I'm gonna step back. Just know this, Kevin. I'm coming for you one day, and I'll be dipping your head in a fucking cheese wheel. Apparently that's how you destroy a circle. You have to complete the cheese wheel.